Well, happy
Well,
happy Aloha Friday, everyone, and we want to welcome back our guest here, Janyce Myrland. Attilio, do
yeah,
you have our intro, or you want me
yeah.
to do the
So I'll read the first
formalities?
part. Our guest today is the president designer at Dreamhouse Drafting Incorporated. She was originally from the East Coast and now a longtime resident of Oahu. She is a graduate of New York City College of Technology and holds a degree in design and drafting technology.
Her local design projects have included numerous residential remodels and a number of brand new homes. She prides herself on her ability to translate a client's wishes into construction documents and believes that each person's home should be their castle. Please
Yeah.
welcome back our guest, Janyce Myrland.
Hi,
Thank
Janice.
you. Hi.
Yeah, so let's get right into it because we've only got 20 minutes where we like to keep these the length of a TED Talk. Duplicate success. So let's get into it. Building code updates. What do you want to share with us regarding the building code updates?
Okay, so the city and county of Honolulu has adopted the building code for 2018. That means that after the fact permits, new designs, everything must be code compliant with 2018.
So, Janice, with these updates, what would you say are some of the biggest differences or changes that people can expect?
Okay, so the biggest change that I've noticed thus far, especially being a person that does primarily residential design, is that anyone who has an enclosed garage, a fireplace, or gas appliances is now going to be required to have what is called a carbon monoxide detector. The combination carbon monoxide and smoke detectors are permissible, but those must now be installed per code in the required spaces.
Okay, so while we're talking about this code and building permits, is there anything that our viewers need to understand about the building permit process? What's changed? What can they expect?
Okay, so there have been numerous changes throughout the years, and if we have a moment, I'd like to explain some of them, mainly two. The ones that's impacting us the most right now is the fact that all submissions, and this in the most recent weeks has come to include commercial projects, must be digital submissions. There's no more bringing in of multiple sets of 24 by 36 paper plans to be submitted, reviewed, possibly brought back to you, and then reviewed again. It has to be digital. That means whoever's doing the submission needs to have an account with ePlans, and they need to understand the formatting because it's non-negotiable. It has to be done correctly. And then if all those specs are met, it will make it through the pre-screen process. But the city and county is currently overwhelmed in pre-screen because not only did they have to hire people to do this job, with all these plans coming in at this point, and it's been this way for a year and a half because the residential rule came down first. Last year, January 1st was when that was put into play. So you have a situation where many people are uploading projects and then they must meet these criteria.
Oh, Otilio, you're muted. We can't hear you.
How are
If
you
you're asking a
managing the
question.
expectations of the clients now with this backlog? What are you telling them up front, or what could be the expectations for the length of the process?
I tell the clients, first of all, you know, people sometimes have an idea that they may wish to do something at some point in the future. They need to have a family meeting, decide if this is really going to happen. Are we thinking about this seriously? Because you're not going to be able to turn in a request and get a response in 6 weeks. It's going to be a time consuming process. And usually, most people that I work with want me to show them multiple possibilities, at least two, that could work out for whatever their particular design possibility is. So, therefore, you need to start right away. Don't delay. Get your design process going, and hopefully, as everyone settles into the new rules and routines at DPP, things can go quicker. But in the meantime, if you wait to submit your design to your design professional and work out the kinks of how everybody likes it, then by time you put in your application with the building department, you're going to have a wait. And you asked me about time frame. Well, it's all over the place, but it does seem to average out lately at around, 6 to 8 months in the pre-screen section of the e-plans review. So that means the preliminary reviewers who are tasked with making sure that formatting is correct, scaling is there, that everything that needed to be uploaded for the project is part of it. It
Yeah.
has not gone to a code reviewer yet. Now, contrary to that, I had something come out of pre-screen in 3 months, and then I had something else that just finally made it out of pre-screen yesterday, which was submitted a year ago. So it's
So,
all over
Wow.
the place.
somewhere between 3 months and a year. Do you recommend anybody start any kind of demoing or construction prior to this permits being approved?
No?
Okay, that's a simple answer. Um,
I've got a question on like people make these renovations for many different reasons. You know, some like they just need to expand the house because they've got a growing family. Others, you know, maybe they become disabled or they're aging in place. Do they have, different ways to submit? Because, if someone can't get up and down their stairs, like it's
I
just like a
wish
quality
they
of life.
did. I honestly wish they did, because as someone who is certified to do aging in place design and has also taken continuing education credits in universal design, etc., this is something that I have worked with people on and that
yeah,
I mention to anyone who wants to do a remodel. If you're going to stay in the home, it's a consideration. But truthfully, there is no available special consideration for people who have a medical circumstance. I
yeah.
have asked, I mean, it seems like something should exist, but it does not.
Well, then the family needs to make a quality of life decision, right? Because
Indeed.
the I say it, and I'm hesitant to say it, but then aging in place starts to change to the terminology dying in place. So um, if you're gonna stay in the home that you're gonna live in, and you figure that maybe you need to make those changes at age 70, then you should start when you're age 50 to make sure
Well,
it gets
people start at different times. I mean, if you're building a house at age 50,
yeah,
and you really like the location and this is where you plan to stay, why not plan for those things? I mean, for
yeah,
me personally, when our house was being built, um,
yeah. Share
that
what
was not
what
a
did you do?
thought,
Yeah,
but what I was thinking is I have older parents who live on the East Coast.
yeah,
And how are their backs or whatever going to feel after that long flight? And, as they get older, how will they navigate my house? I wasn't certified aging in place at the point, but
yeah,
that's what I was thinking of. And so the house that I have, is very aging in place compliant. But it's never too early to think of that, because even if it's not you, one of the principles of universal design is making your home visitable for your elderly relatives.
yeah. Talk about that addresses the question. Somebody's thinking about building a house now. Um, yeah, regardless of how old you are now, if you well, there's that old saying, start with the end in mind. what would be some things that you would suggest that people do in brand new construction that they're building with the thought that they're going to stay in that home forever? What are some things that they could do in that initial?
So there's several things that you can do immediately.
Yeah.
First and foremost, wider doorways. Secondly, wider hallways. Thirdly, bathroom and kitchen layout.
Okay. So take a look at that. We probably got somebody watching that's thinking about maybe bulldozing a home or building something brand new. I think it's very rare that somebody has vacant land and like, let's go build a house. They're more
I'm
like,
meeting with somebody on Tuesday who's going to be doing exactly that.
and they're taking down an old home.
Yes. And
Yeah,
build.
because I think it's Hawaii. It's rare. It's not like we're in like Arizona or in the mainland where somebody owned 10 acres for 20 years. It's more likely that you're going to be bulldozing an existing home and starting from scratch. So with let's talk about the width of the doorways. Is it unlimited width, or is there a code for the aging in place width too? Like
Okay,
more
so
bigger
you'll
doors?
notice that all of the high rises that are being built now, the
Yeah,
interior doors will all be like 3 feet wide. You're not going to see any more of these 24-inch wide bathroom doors.
yeah,
If you are in a residential setting and you're not starting from scratch and you're working with what's there, usually what we try to do is get at least a 32-inch wide door. In the store, it would be known as a 2.8 by 6.8, so 2 foot 8 inches wide. We try to get that as a minimum because some of the smaller wheelchairs will go through there. But
yeah,
long before people get into wheelchairs, unless they have the misfortune to have a stroke or a bad accident, they're going to be using walker. Okay,
yeah,
so once again, you want the added width.
So with
yeah.
these added door widths, is that something that is a permit that's required, or can that be done without the
Without a permit.
permits?
Well, if you're, you have to you have to think about why permits and codes are written,
Yeah,
and it's a safety issue. So, for example, on Monday, I just inspected a home. It was a permit compliance inspection, and there were numerous modifications, including changing all the windows in the homes. Because it's old, I have no way of knowing 100% where all the exterior doors were,
hmm,
but for sure, you knew they had windows in the bedrooms. And in checking, I found that the windows that were located on what would be called a gable wall. In other words, if you have a typical, roof that's like this,
yeah,
not the one that looks like a pyramid, it's called a gable roof. And on one end, you're going to see a triangular top and then the rest of the wall. Well, the critical thing is that in all circumstances, a window should have a beam above it called a header.
hmm,
So this is one of the reasons why you're supposed to have, because they were missing the ones in the gable wall. There
yeah.
was no beam above the window. So this is one of the reasons why you need a permit, because that's a structural issue. A
Gotcha.
set of plans and a building inspector coming to check the installation would verify if the appropriate sized header is above the window.
Yeah.
When it's just done, you have no way of knowing.
What's the
Um,
purpose? What's the purpose of the header?
Okay, you don't want the roof resting on
Holding
top
up
of
the
the
roof.
window.
Yeah.
Okay, the window is not supposed to be your structural support.
Gotcha.
Even in homes where you'll see like those gorgeous accordion fold glass walls made by NanoWall and others, there's a monster beam. It's
Yeah.
built in and it looks nice. It doesn't stand out, but that's what's supporting the house,
Yeah.
not the windows, not the doors.
It would have been helpful for the Three Little Pigs if they had a home and if they had permits for their homes, because then the wolf wouldn't have been able to blow them down.
That's right. And
Yeah.
hurricane, uplift, wind uplift, and all of those things are what has to be proven on the set of plans. The
Yeah.
set of plans serves two functions. Number one, It expresses the homeowner's wishes, or should, the homeowner's wishes for what they want in a manner that someone else can build it. And number two, it provides proof that it meets the energy code, the egress
Yeah.
code, the fire code, and all the other codes that apply.
Hey, we never got a chance to cover it during the radio show, but I do want to take these last couple of minutes to go over it. New rules for building inspectors.
Okay, so I am not a building inspector.
Hmm.
And realistically speaking, working from the design and getting the permit end, I rarely ever meet with or speak with a building inspector. What I'm going to be sharing with you is feedback that I've been getting from contractors in the field. And the initial notification of this new strictness on their rules is coming from contractors who have permits in process, and the building inspector has come to visit. As you know, we've all been through 3 traumatic years with the pandemic and everything that came along with it. It appears, from what I'm hearing and from having to do revisions on plans that were already submitted for permits, that the building inspectors are now really told that the building must match the plans in every way. So I had 2 circumstances where bathroom windows did not match the plans. Please bear in mind that you are not obligated to have a bathroom window. But in the one design, I actually had 2 bathroom windows specified. And what happened was supply chain issues caused the contractor to purchase what was available, the same type of window, but slightly different in size. One in the wall of the curbless shower. This was an aging in place new bathroom. And the other one behind the toilet. And in years past, it would have been there's 2 windows specified on the plan. These are not egress windows, so it's not an issue. And the inspector would have simply said, okay. But here they were told, no, you must um, redo your windows to match the drawings exactly, or else he is required to issue a notice of violation.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So, and then I think they also have a new rule that even though they get off by 5 o'clock, they cannot be home by 3 p.m.
I wouldn't know about that one, but I will tell you that in the old days, a notice of violation was mentioned. And if the next time the inspector came around, you know, talked to him nicely and had some stuff in play with getting a permit,
Yeah.
it was a friendly conversation. It's not that way anymore. They're obligated to issue one. The fines are supposed to start after 30 days.
So they
They are
can.
Well,
daily
that's
fines.
interesting that they start fining you, but it takes permits anywhere between 3 months to a year or more. So you could be paying these
Oh, yes.
daily premiums of fines while you're waiting on them. That sounds a little
That has
odd.
been mentioned over and over again by everybody. They'll say, I can't get a permit within 30 days, but that is the structure. And I don't think, as busy as the inspectors are, that they are personally going and tripping the fines. I think it's something in the computer that gets it going.
Oh, that darn AI or that chat GPT. There it comes up. So
The only comfort is from DPP that I've heard from the supervisor at the building inspector division is that if you did put in your building permit application with a set of drawings, they are aware of how long it takes.
Yeah.
Therefore, they will, if you do your due diligence and ask them to do so at the end when you've got your permit and everything, they'll calculate how many days was this building permit application under the control of DPP.
Okay.
Because the way ePlans works, when it's under my control, because they sent back comments, they have no access to it. And when I sent stuff to them, I have no access to it.
So when it's under their control, they're going to be a little bit more lenient with the fines, or
They will actually go and see, okay,
yeah,
180 days it was with us. We can't charge these people, $50 a day or whatever it is for those 180 days.
for Joey down at DPP on a long coffee
Well,
break.
that's
Yes.
helpful.
Well, we'll wrap it up. I know we're coming to the end of it. We'll wrap it up. I heard they're bringing in a consultant from the Russian DMV because the Russian DMV seems to be easier to work with than the DPP at Honolulu. I'm just kidding. And I want to invite anybody, even the director of the DPP, you can more than welcome to come on here. I know we're kind of beating you up facetiously with our live stream. I don't think we're like 60 Minutes or Oprah or Tony Robbins, so I don't know if they'll see it. But in case you do, Mr. or Mrs. Director of the DPP, we're welcome to have you on this show.
It is a Mrs.
It is a Mrs. Yep. Welcome to have you on the show to talk about how you're making our lives easier, not harder, because it's really tough for people to default to uncle side job with construction.
With the process and the
Brada.
Yeah. So, Adrian, any last questions for Janyce before we wrap it up?
No, I just encourage any of our viewers to reach out to Janyce directly. She's amazing. She knows her stuff on permits, on after the fact permits, on design. So check out her website. You can see some examples and some happy testimonials. But yeah, just give her a call and see if your project or your situation that you have is something that she can help with.
Yeah. You got a great website with some previous projects. And a whole bunch of stuff on there that people can check out. And it's dreamhousedrafting.com.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janyce.
I'm not exactly a web expert and I don't have time to really do a lot with it, but I also have more projects up on House.
Yeah. Your expertise is in actually down at the DPP, and that's where they don't need a web designer. They need a home designer.
So, right.
Well, we can't beat them up. I have friends that I've made down there with people that I've been submitting stuff to over the years, and they work hard and they're honest ones. They're still working there, and they see the other stuff that's gone on, and it doesn't reduce their workload. And I've also, back in the day when we had to sit in line pre-pandemic for a lot of stuff at DPP, I've seen, some of them get really, really irritated when it was obvious someone was trying to pull a fast one.
Gotcha. So do it by the book. You know what? Don't even this way or that way. Just use Janyce. That's going to be our recommendation. Just call Janyce.
Give her a call.
You know how to navigate. You're like Odysseus. What is it? Odysseus. I forgot his name. Trying to navigate through the channels there to get back home to get DP to approve these permits. All right. Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Janyce. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone.